they'll send us pictures of things they find. This is one of the pictures a mother sent us a few months ago, things she found in her kid's bedroom. Can anybody tell me what those 4 little items are right there? Those are burnt water faucet screens. Mom had no idea that once heat's applied to these, that's what they're eventually going to look like. Had to tell Mom, those are burnt water faucet screens, your kid's smoking marijuana. Mom had no idea. Now think if Mom would have just let that go. Let that go, and now that stage 1 marijuana use, a year and a half, 2 years, is now pills, heroin, or fentanyl. It's so important that we get to this stuff early. Know what the paraphernalia is, and be able to tie that paraphernalia to whatever drug it is. Now, you guys obviously had the luxury of seeing this picture right next to it, and Mom didn't, but you got to know what this stuff is, guys. Yeah, normally we'll pass this stuff around, but since we have such a big audience and we're so spread out that we don't want people to have to get up all the time and pass it to the next person. So if you want to see this stuff afterwards, and I'm not sure if we're going to take a break or not, we're going to go for about 2.5 hours tonight. So we'll kind of gauge you guys and see if we have everybody wanting to take a break, we will. If not, we'll go straight through and get you guys out here about 8:30, okay? So if you guys want to see this stuff afterwards, you can come up here and take a look.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the diameter of those guys?
It depends. I mean, some of them are about maybe the size of a dime, some of them nickel, quarter. So it just depends on the size of the water faucet screen. Yep, dime, nickel, quarter, those type of dimes.
Let me share this with you. If you have somebody, yes, sir, John.
The purpose of the screen on it.
Water faucet screen.
But what's the purpose? It goes in and keeps.
Well, the screen it just works as a screen inside, so the product isn't sucked down. So the product sits right on top of that screen, then they burn it from there.
Yeah, if you don't have a screen in there and you try and inhale that marijuana bud, you're sucking all that marijuana into your system, the actual leafy stuff, the bud, and you don't want that. So it'll filter all that out. All you get is smoke. Okay. Good questions, guys.
If you have somebody in your world abusing a drug, we suggest you always check their trash. Tell the schools, check the trash there. And by the trash, I mean more than just the typical trash receptacle. I mean the floorboard of the car, the bottom of the purse, look in the pockets. Tell the administrators in the schools like this one, you want to know what's in this school. Every single day, janitors, teachers should be going through every trash can, especially in the bathroom. That's where you're going to find those used pods. Okay, maybe some of the jewels or the monks that we're going to touch on. Maybe out in the parking lot. I will guarantee you this. Generally, they're going to leave little things behind, just like this young man did. And if you can identify what that item is used for, maybe you get them pretty early on that stage or that path there. Just want you to be very, very aware of that. Highlighters, markers, very big in American society. 15 to 20 bucks, any color you can imagine. They work for a short period of time like this one did, then eventually drying out. Here you simply pull the metal pipe out of the bottom, smoke any product you want in there. Don't want you to think it's just story time. Last summer, Sean and I lecturing up in Cleveland at a big foster parents conference. Met this young mother at custody of a 14-year-old young man. The boy's in the bathroom supposedly taking a shower, and Mom can smell marijuana coming from the bathroom door. She finally gets this young man to open the door. She goes inside. He's got steam going on, got the air vent going on. She finds that highlighter. Yeah, her first thought should be I first thought. Doesn't make sense where you find the item at that time. Made absolutely no sense why you would have a highlighter in the shower. You see, she pulls it apart. It's identical to ours other than the color. Next couple of items are somewhat heavy. They actually to do what they appear to be made to do. With this particular bolt, you don't have to take the nut and washer off. You can do that if you want it. Simply hold this device like so. Let's unscrew the top. You're going to see a void right there in the center to hide the drug. This is manufactured this way. It hasn't been altered. Put the drug in there. Put that cap back on. Now let's mark it up. Let's put some grease on it. And let's put it in the toolbox with similar items. Wouldn't this be a very difficult find for us in law enforcement, let alone someone else out there to find it? Kind of makes us wonder how much we've missed in our careers because of these type of items.
Yeah, again, to show you this is a story time. This case happened in Mount Vernon, Ohio, about a year ago last summer. There was a 9-year-old little girl, 8 or 9-year-old little girl. She's playing in the backyard with a friend. She comes across this bolt laying in the backyard. She picks a bolt up, hands it to Dad. Hey, Daddy, look what I found. Dad's looking at the bolt like, well, this isn't one of my bolts. Where did this thing come from? So Dad starts messing with the top, figured out it unscrews, methamphetamine and heroin inside that bolt in their backyard where their kid was playing. Mom calls the cops and turns over the cops. So again, not just story time, this is real life we're dealing with. Now when Mike and I purchased that last bolt in the head shop, this bolt was sitting right next to it. So Mike and I are thinking, well, this one's got to open up the same way, right, the top? So we're messing with it. We can't figure, well, Mike can't figure it out. So we had to go to the clerk. He said, hey dude, how do you open up this one? He said, oh, with this one you can crank on it all day long. You can't get it open. Reason being? How about it's got a reverse thread? So this one, you got to open up the opposite direction of that review you get in your compartment. Normally, when we pass this around, I always tell the audience, I will guarantee you, matter of fact, I'll bet you a box of donuts, because I'm a cop, that one of you guys will drop this as it goes to the audience because our brains get so used to that righty-tighty, lefty-loosey thing. Think about this container up in the medicine cabinet or up in one of the kitchen cabinets. Vitamin container. Even sounds like it's got vitamins in there. But this one, you unscrew the top, you remove your little one-hitter pipe, and then there's a hollow area there to hide all the drugs. We were doing a search warrant on the west side of Columbus, pharmaceutical search warrant. And we go into this guy's house, go into his bedroom, and his bedroom he's got a couple safes. So we ask us the combination of the safes. He won't give it to us, so we have to bust the safes open. Inside, we find all his pharmaceuticals, all of his cash, all of his other drugs. Then we find this cell phone. We're thinking, that's kind of odd. Why has this guy got a cheap little cell phone locked up in a safe with all of his drugs? Well, as soon as you guys pick this up, you realize not a real cell phone. Plastic cover, you simply pop that off, you turn it on, and it's a digital scale. So you can weigh up all those drugs he has there in the house. These batteries. Mike and I were doing this presentation in Lima, Ohio, at a large opiate conference. A lot of times when we go to these major conferences out of the area, we like to spend the night before, go into all our local smoke shops, so we can tell the audience the next day what they have locally. So in this head shop in Lima, we found these batteries. They had C batteries, D batteries, AA, AAA, any size you want. What you do with these batteries is turn them upside down, unscrew the bottom. Drop that drug in there, whether it's a perk or Molly or dab of marijuana, put the bottom back on. Now, the clerk in the store told Mike and I when we were leaving, there are some electronic devices out there where you can put this fake battery in amongst the other real ones, and some devices still operate. Now, if that's true, how good would that be for concealment? Show you what police officers are dealing with on traffic stops every day. Police officer buddy of mine gave me these pictures down West Virginia a couple years ago. Cop down there stops a guy for a minor traffic violation. He asks the driver, hey, you mind if I search your vehicle? Guy's like, I got that. I go ahead and search the car. Officer gets to the front seat and finds that big flashlight sitting on the front seat. Officer has to unscrew the top, take out all the batteries. That's what the guy did. He put the fake battery here, real batteries behind it. So the officer had to get through all the batteries to get to the fake one. Unscrews the bottom of the fake one, that's where he finds the heroin. And look what the driver tells the cop. He's like, look, dude, the only reason I give you consent to search my car, because every other cop that stops me, they don't find this stuff. Situation law enforcement's dealing with.
Watch any of the food containers available out there. You're all familiar with the Ritz bits, real Ritz bits to the top. We paid $23 for this safe. You simply unscrew the bottom, and there's a nice void in the bottom to hide the drug itself. Oh, yes, go right ahead, dear.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
The bolts and things like that, the smaller ones, how much of the drug, not only the amount, but how long can they use it usually?
Well, it depends on the individual. It's a good question. No matter if that type of safe or another one, depends what drug they're using, how often they need to use that drug, and the availability for them to keep that drug very close there. So it's very dependent on the individual. So those are very small. Well, you could put pills in there. You could put bundles of heroin. You could put a couple of grams worth of heroin in there. Remember, a packet of Sweet and Low is a gram. So a couple of grams of heroin, methamphetamine, cocaine, any of that would go in there. Here's a search warrant that just did recently, our old unit did, and it was in a motel there in Columbus, and as soon as SWAT secured the room and they went inside, first thing the sergeant sees is that Morton salt container there, but it's sitting upright. His first thought was, how many of us take Morton salt with us on vacation? You don't. He picks it up, top heavy right now, because there's real Morton salt. Turns it over, unscrews the bottom. The guy's got 5 ounces of crystal methamphetamine in the container. Probably 65–70% of search warrants we find these are going to be there. So I want you to be aware of this because many are missing that. You know, when you look at different containers, like maybe a beer can, a pop can, or whatever it may be, generally when you finish that, what do you do with the can? You throw it away. They will not throw these safes away. You see how tattered and distressed this is. Same thing with the salt container. That should be an indicator. That salt container's been around for a while. They'll keep these safes, so you want to look at that whole picture.
Yeah, you can just see here one of the search warrants we did on the south end of Columbus. It was a pharmaceutical search warrant. You can see the Jif peanut butter shirt containers, false centers, bottom picture athlete foot spray, pillage furniture, polished false bottoms. Pulled out over 4,000 Oxycontin tablets from safes like that throughout that house. Now the other type of containers, the gum containers. I just bought this one off of Amazon. I think I paid like $12 for it. In the head shop, this one's probably $30. But you ever see those gum containers from checking out at Kroger or Giant Eagle? Has a gum at the top, but again, it's got a false bottom as well. Any school teachers in the audience? get an anonymous tip left on our answer sheet that says, hey, one of our female students brought drugs into the school. Let's say at that point, our policy dictates, well, we got to do a locker search now. Get to this particular female student's locker. You keep drinking my water. I'm going to get his cooties. I swear I'm going to get his cooties. No, that one's mine. All right. Gosh, I can't win. So anyhow, we get to this particular female student's locker, and she's got this hairbrush sitting in a locker. Hair is all in it. Most of us wouldn't think twice of this, would we? We will now, because when you unscrew the end cap, that's where she's going to hide the drug. This one, stickered at $35 in that head shop. Imagine the amount of money they're making off these so-called safes. They're making millions off of these.
10 to 20 bucks, you buy the hidden wall safe. It's been in every major head shop we've been in, from the East Coast to the West Coast. You'll notice on the front of the box, they suggest you hide your jewelry, your cash there. And you turn the box to one side, there's a schematic. It's giving you directions how to cut the drywall out. Comes with a drywall cutting blade, so you cut out the drywall. Turn the box to the opposite side, you'll notice there's a drop box behind the wall plate. Stick the dope in the drop box. Put it into the wall, secure the plate to the wall with the screw that's provided. When Sean and I bought this at a local head shop there in Columbus area, we were leaving the store, and the young lady in there said, hey guys, make sure you plug something into the outlet to make it look like it's actually working. She knew why most people would buy this type of safe from her business.
You know, we actually found 3 of those in search warrants in Columbus. So what we had to do because of that, we had to send one of our officers, like Home Depot or Lowe's, and buy one of those outlet testers. So one of our officers' assignment now on every search warrant, take that little tester, plug it into every outlet, make sure it lights up. If it doesn't, you take a close look at it, because it could be one of those. Again, you see why it's taken us so long to do these searches. And now you know what assignment we give our rookies when they first come to narcotics, don't you? You know, when you go into these head shops, it's a word game. Like if this young lady here is working in one of your local head shops, and I go in and I say, hey, you got a crack pipe. Well, if she sells me a crack pipe and I'm a cop, I could charge her with selling drug paraphernalia. Well, she's too smart for that. She's been trained by her attorneys what she can and cannot say. So now I have to go in and play a word game. I have to say something like, hey, I've got some products I want to smoke. Where are your pipes? Then she'd be glad to show me where all the pipes are. Or I've got some valuables I want to hide. Where are your safes? These are what's considered safes in a head shop. So if I ask to see her safe, she may respond back to me and say, well, are you keeping your stash at home? You take it on the road with you. If I say I'm taking my stash on the road, she'll probably direct me to these type of safes. Imagine you leave the training tonight, go out in the parking lot, car parked next to you has this container sitting in the front seat. There's little wet wipes for vinyl leather interiors of a car. Nobody think twice of that sitting in the front seat of your car. Even if you pop the top, it has some of the wipes in the top. But this one just bought over Amazon. You just screw it off the top there, you can see the false bottom in the middle up there.
We pay very close attention to any of the oil-based safes that are out there, available out there, I should say. Sean and I are working undercover on the north side of Columbus on Morse Road. There's a water beds and stuff store there. Anytime you got a business got the in stuff behind it, kind of makes you wonder what they're talking about, right? Anyway, so we went in and the assistant manager was working, so I started a conversation with this gentleman. I wanted his professional opinion on the best oil-based safe Sean and I could buy from his business. He suggested for 24 bucks, we buy this particular can of liquid wrench. So I said, why that can? He said it's his favorite. There's no oil in it. It opens from the bottom, takes that cap off, puts his so-called stash in there, puts the cap back on, then he dents the can up like we've done. He told me to put oil and grease all over the canister. He then told Sean and I he drives a pickup truck, and with a grin, he's looking at us and said, what I've done, guys, is thrown a bunch of trash into the bed of the pickup truck. So where's he going to throw this? Obviously in the bed of the pickup truck, so if you come across it, you're going to think it's trash like the other items. Once again, you see why we spend so much time in our searches. Any questions for us? Everybody depressed? I don't mean to depress you, just want you to be aware. Yes, sir? Oh, don't even share that, because I'm a big fisherman. I don't even want to know they're coming into that. Not surprising, though. Yeah, Canton. Yeah, another safe type thing. Yeah, nothing shocking anymore. Nothing shocking. A lot of times, attendees will say, what about the drug dogs? Can they smell it? Yes, these are not airtight. And remember, when they're handling that drug, some of the remnants of that drug will be about their person. The dog will still pick up on that. But remember, with fentanyl, if we take the drug dogs in and the dog's sniffing the fentanyl, what's the dog going to do? He's going to go down. And also remember, those Mexican cartels raise their own drug dogs to see how they can compete and beat our drug dogs. So even though we use those animals every single day, and they're wonderful, we still have to search everything there. Now, we just inundated you with a lot of props, didn't we? Why?
Know what to look for.
What to look for, and plus because we're tired of going to the morgue. and we're tired of spending time with families that have to go to the morgue. We want you to share all of this with those people in your world. Make them more aware than ever before. Maybe we'll slow this epidemic down. That's why we did that. Question for all of you. What is the #1 drug of abuse in our country today? It's the #2 killer of all drugs we use and abuse, and it's a drug we really minimize on. What am I talking about? Alcohol, yep. I'm not going to read you all these stats. Many of you are probably familiar with those. Question, in the state of Ohio, if you're the parent of a teenager under the age of 21, can you provide that teenager alcohol? Yes, you may. Yes, you may. That's your child. What if their best friend's over and the parents call and say, hey, as long as you're there, Dad, my child can drink. Is that legal? No, the parent of that child must provide their own child with the alcohol, must stay with them during the consumption of the entire amount of alcohol. So technically what that would mean is you could take that teenager into a local liquor establishment and you personally could order alcohol from the bar and then you could provide that alcohol to your teenager, technically. What are most bars going to tell you? Not going to happen because of liability. So understand, the alcohol law is constantly changing. Sean's going to share some of the new things with you. I told you that Sean and I do about 2 to 3 interventions every week, and during these interventions, most families right now are talking about fentanyl being mixed with one substance or another, and we should be, because obviously it's a killer. But when you look at the big picture, really no comparison. Alcohol is killing more than that. Look at this and look at the stats there. A 14% increase from 16 to 17. Okay, on the opioid overdose deaths. And you go down to that second one there, the non-alcohol, we went from 63,000 to 72. Look at the #2 killer. It's alcohol. Has been for quite some time. #1, obviously, killing more than all the others combined. Nicotine, tobacco.
All right, let's get you caught up to speed on some of the newer things with alcohol. We have to understand that a lot of the youth today prefer the flavored alcohol, or the alcohol that's mixed with an energy drink or with caffeine. Many of you probably remember the stories about Four Loko. Remember those horror stories where kids were going to a party, they're drinking the Four Loko. Next thing you know, they're waking up in the emergency room because they've overdosed on the alcohol. Reason being is before the FDA made manufacturers of Four Loko and those other manufacturers separate that caffeine alcohol combination, before they did that, that 22-ounce container there was like drinking 4 beers with a large cup of caffeinated coffee. So can you imagine an inexperienced drinker like a teenager? You're drinking all that alcohol combined with caffeine. You don't realize how drunk you're getting until you pass out. That's why on the street, kids will call it blackout in a can, call it liquid cocaine, call them hand grenades. It is important, if we have kids in our life, that we know street terminology. Because they're going to be texting it, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Kik, WhatsApp. They're going to talk it right in front of us. If we don't know what those terms mean, it's right over the head. Imagine this. Imagine this young lady and I were working for the local fire department here. We're medics and we're responding to an overdose just down the road. We get on the scene of that overdose and there's some young 18, 19-year-old boy or girl dying in front of us. One of his friends runs up to us and says, hey ma'am, he just overdosed on the sidewalks of the Supermans. Well, if we don't know what a sidewalk or a Superman is, how do we know how to properly treat that kid that's dying in front of us? His buddy running up to us, they only know the drug by its street term. They don't even know the drug by its real name at all. So it is imperative today that we know street terminology. And don't worry, we'll tell you what a sidewalk and a Superman is here in a little bit. All right, let's talk about a few other things. Let's talk about the buzz balls, upper left. We see these all over. A lot of our carryouts, markets, gas stations, university bars, campus area bars. These, no matter what variety, are 40 proof. So 20% alcohol in these little buzz balls. And you can see how they're marketed towards the youth. Some parents are mistaking them as juice containers. The ones on the bottom left are called the pocket shots. The one that Mike and I purchased over the internet and had shipped to us is called Straight Up. Some parents are confusing these as well. Oh, it looks like one of those carbohydrate boosters for long-distance runners. But you know what? That looks like those new squeezable applesauce containers for kids. Not realizing that, no, these are 80 proof. 40% alcohol in these little pocket shots or Straight Ups. See how easy that would be? Put that in the back pocket of my jeans, take it to work or school with me? So we need to think about concealment when it comes to alcohol. How can I conceal alcohol so mom and dad don't know? Cops don't know. Teachers don't know. Several items out there. Kind of want to open your eyes to show you a few. Items like this. Bachelor my drop container. Can't see inside it, so it's perfect. So what do? Take out the saline, replace it with alcohol, put it in my pocket, go to work or school. I'm on my lunch break. I'm putting that alcohol in my Diet Pepsi, my Coke, put that alcohol in my system throughout the day. And I'll leave the liquor bottle out in the parking lot so I can keep refilling this during the day. Something called vodka balling or eyeballing. You got to think about kids. Kids want everything now. They don't want to wait on anything, not even a buzz. So what am I going to do? Take containers like this, buy Z-nitrile containers, take all the saline out, replace it with vodka, put it in my pocket, go to the party. I get to that party, I want that quick buzz, I'm just going to eyeball it or vodka ball it. Now obviously that's going to cause some issues. What are some of those issues? Well, you can see there, damage to parts of the eye. Temporary, permanent blinding. How about vodka snorting? Well, we're just going to take the vodka shot and we're going to snort it. Some of the fraternities that have the initiations for the fraternities, you see the lower left picture there? That's where they'll take the fifth of whiskey, bottle of alcohol, put it straight up to the open eye, let it absorb to get that quick buzz. And they take it off. I've seen the videos. Looks like the worst case of pink eye you've ever seen. So little things like that. Taking the little syringe bottom right and snorting it that way. Any way to bypass the body's organs to get straight to the bloodstream, straight to the brain to get that quick buzz. That's what we're looking for here. Some other things we need to think about is the laws have changed. Like Mike was talking about how they're constantly updating. Do you know we now have approved in the state of Ohio for alcohol-infused ice cream? So if you're a ice cream shop owner and you get your liquor permit, you could actually infuse your ice cream with alcohol. We have some organizations that are now making their own ice cream infused, alcohol-infused ice cream, selling it. A lot of our, let's say, Walmart's, Kroger, in the alcohol frozen section. So you're going to start to see that stuff on the shelves. Some of our bars in the summertime are going to start to sell the freeze pops, popsicles that are infused with alcohol. And that could be very confusing for parents to know if that's alcohol infused or not. So just remember those little things. Other type of concealment items. How many of us have teenagers at home? This next part's perfect for you guys. Imagine you go into your teenager's bedroom and you find sunscreen, suntan lotion, moisturizing lotion containers. Would we think much of these? Probably not. Bought this over the internet for $7. All it is a $7 alcohol flask. Now you get a chance afterwards and you want to read some of the labels. It's actually kind of funny. Some of the things are right on the back. Like this one says something like, if security is close enough to read this, you better run. How about you go in your teenager's bedroom and you find a tampon? Think much of it? No, obviously if you have a son, that's an issue, right? You go in your daughter's bedroom, you go into someone's purse at work, find a tampon, probably wouldn't think much of it. This one we bought over the internet for $3. It's called the booze tube. So you're just going to put your alcohol in that little tube, put the cap back on, put it in the wrapper. No one's going to know the difference. Does anybody have teenage daughters at home? Teenage daughter comes up to you and says, hey, Dad, I want to go to the Friday night football game, and I want to take my pom-pom cheer for the football team. She gets in the stands with her friends. What she do? Well, she turns it over, and she's got her pom-pom flask. Got to check everything, don't we, Mom and Dad? This one I just bought over Amazon a couple months ago. Imagine it's still the winter months. I have to put my mittens on. Well, right here is the actual alcohol flask. You take this part of the thumb down, and that's where you fill it up, and that's where you can drink out of your mittens there. So again, you got to think about all of this stuff. And could it be alcohol? Could it be ways to hide drugs? All that kind of stuff. So any questions about any of that? Anybody need the phone number for the hookup? That's what I thought. All right, a couple more things. We'll move on. Yes? Well, you have to have a credit card, and some of them will say check the over 21 box, but you know, we've seen some head shops where people go in and they're not checking IDs, and I'm sure there's some websites out there that you could probably buy it and not be 21. So it's tough, isn't it? All right, let's talk about some other non-traditional ways. Y'all familiar with the drunky bears or the drunky worms? If you're not familiar with these, let's explain how these things work. Let's say I'm a kid and I want to make some drunky bears for school tomorrow. What do? Well, I get a glass bowl, Pyrex dish, put a whole package of gummy bears in it. Then I get my hands on my favorite alcohol. Let's say it's vodka. Now, why as a kid would I ever want to choose vodka? Least amount of smells and it's clear. So I take that fifth of vodka, pour it all over my gummy bears, let it soak up in my bedroom overnight. I get up for school the next morning, now what do I have? Well, now I got Arnold Schwarzenegger-sized gummy bears that are 3 times their normal size because they've soaked up all that alcohol. 15, 20 of them, little plastic bag, take to school with me. In between my schoolwork, I'm popping those gummy bears, get that alcohol in my system throughout the day. Some other things to be aware of. Puffing alcohol or vaporizing. If you're not familiar with this, it's easy to get on YouTube and watch all the videos of how to do it. You can make homemade ones, you can buy them. You can buy alcohol vaporizers over the internet. AWOL device stands for alcohol with liquid. Without liquid, this one's called the Vape Shop, that one's called the Vaportini. So you can actually buy these over the internet. Now, is vaporizing alcohol legal or illegal in the state of Ohio? Do I know? It's actually illegal. There is a state statute making it illegal. Here's some other things you need to consider. This one I just bought over Amazon a couple months ago, and this one's called the Vape Shop. This one is advertised, and they'll show you videos on it, where you take an empty liter bottle or 2 liter bottle of pop, all the pop's gone, and you put a shot of whiskey in it, a couple shots of whiskey. Then you take this and put it on top, and then you push air, pump air into that liter bottle. Actually, watch the videos. You'll see the vapors start to come off the alcohol. Once you see the vapors start to rise, you take this off, and you huff on the vapors. That's how you're getting drunk now. So you can get drunk that way as well. So you got to think about these little things like that. Yes?
Are they doing it for a quicker buzz?
Quick buzz. Yep, bypass the body's organs, very quick buzz. Plus, if you vape it, you're not getting the calories. You don't get that beer belly. It's 0 calories if you vape it. Other people say it gives you a less alcohol smell on the breath, which is good. So those type of things are the benefits that kids all talk about. Yep.
Does it make it any more potent?
Does it? Well, it does because you get it straight to the brain. And as the body, if we're drinking alcohol the normal way, the body's organs are processing it, so you're losing some of the alcohol content as it goes through the body's organs. When it goes straight to the bloodstream, straight to the brain, you're not losing that content, are you? And you're going to get much quicker buzz. Sir? It basically stays in the system the same amount of time, yes. Now, I have heard from some people that work the data master machines, you know, those breathalyzers, that it can lower the levels on breathalyzer, but blood or urine test, it's still going to register. Okay, great question. Any others? All right, some other things we need to consider. Now, this one, alcohol, is powdered alcohol. It's actually freeze-dried alcohol. This guy, Mark Phillips, he invented it about 6 years ago. He's having a hard time getting it marketed and distributed. As a matter of fact, 31 states, including Ohio, have already made this illegal. So you can't have the powdered alcohol in our state. But if they ever get it distributed, does that mean we'll never see it? Sure, we're going to see it. What could you do with powdered alcohol, guys? Yeah, somebody say, take a razor blade, cut a straw down, and snort it like you would cocaine. Or imagine this scenario. Imagine I'm in a neighborhood bar, and I see a pretty girl sitting next to me at the bar. Her attention gets diverted from drink. What can I do? Slip that powdered alcohol in her already alcoholic drink to double shot to take advantage of it. So could things like this be used to facilitate a sexual assault? Sure they could. So we need to educate our loved ones on things like this. I don't care if you're in a neighborhood bar. You're in a high school cafeteria with your buddies. You're after high school with your buddies at McDonald's. Never leave your drink left unattended. You have no idea what someone can put in that drink. So very important to educate our loved ones. Now the next couple here. Not to offend any of you, but this is called street smart. We tell it like it is. Has anybody ever heard the term booty shots before? Booty shots? Well, let me tell you all something. Mike there, he loves him some booty shots.
So wrong.
What people,
So what?
what people will do is take a tampon, they'll soak it in their favorite alcohol, take it out, and then what are you going to do with it, guys? You're going to insert it rectally or vaginally. You're going to get drunk very quickly from doing a booty shot because our colons have a quick absorption rate. Now, we've had some others ask us, why am I finding this part of the tampon, floorboard of my daughter's car, bottom of her purse? Why would they keep this part? To snort the drug or to smoke the drug. So a lot of different uses for the tampon in the drug or alcohol field. The term butt chugging. Any butt chuggers out there? No? University of Tennessee frat party. You had some frat brothers doing alcohol enemas. One of them got 6 times the legal limit and almost died. So some of these non-traditional ways to consume alcohol, these kids have no idea how dangerous or even deadly they can be.
Sean and I lectured quite a bit at High State University, featured nurses, social workers, counselors, and we were there 2 years ago, and we got to this part of the session. One of the young ladies attending wanted to share what happened to her senior year in high school over in Salina, Ohio, there in Mercer County off 75. She said just before the prom, some of the girls snuck a bunch of alcohol into the girls' restroom, then throughout the night of the prom, this particular senior going in with the tampons, absorbing the alcohol and inserting them. By the time her girlfriends realized she was in an alcohol coma, and dying in the back seat of their car, they were too late getting her to the nearest facility. Unfortunately, she died from the alcohol poisoning. So a lot of them, not just young, but a lot of the older don't realize just how deadly this substance can be here. Now, this power blasting thing's been around for decades. You know, your hand sanitizers, many of them contain 60 to 70% of isopropyl type of alcohol. It's not a type one should normally be consuming, but picture maybe the situation that I find myself in at this particular time. It's the only type of alcohol that's readily available. So I'm going to drink it down and maybe chase it with some type of drink container.
The other things we hear about with the kids with this is they'll take an ice cube tray, pump or pour the hand sanitizer into the ice cube tray, put it in the freezer and freeze it. Once it's frozen, they take it out. Everything's frozen out but The alcohol, drink whatever's left, you separated that nasty soap from the alcohol. Get on YouTube. There are videos on YouTube that show a salting out process where you can salt out the soap just to be able to consume that isopropyl type. So all that stuff is available for us or our kids to watch. Now, if I have alcohol issues, and let's say my family knows I have alcohol issues, they've taken all the alcohol out of the house, they found all my hiding spots, now I'm looking for an alternative to drink. Besides drinking real alcohol, what are some of the substitutes I could go for, guys? Some of the cough medicines have alcohol. What else, guys?
Methylated spirits.
What is it?
Methylated spirits.
Yeah.
Paint stripper.
Okay, yes. All right. Somebody else? Mouthwash, colognes, perfumes, liquid hairsprays. We had someone attend one of our presentations, and the person in her world suffering from alcoholism would go to like Kroger, Giant Eagle, and buy a bottle of vanilla extract. Vanilla extract contains 40% alcohol, pure vanilla extract. So we have to think outside the box and think about some of these alternatives to alcohol. Also, remember this, alcohol is a very powerful drug. There are very few drugs out there that you can actually die from the withdrawal of that drug. Alcohol is one of them. The benzodiazepines is another one. Mike's going to talk about those in a few minutes. But so if you have a loved one in your world comes up to you and says, look, tomorrow I'm going cold turkey, not another drop of alcohol, it's ruined my life. Please make sure you tell that friend or loved one. Go see your family doctor and be supervised through the withdrawal. The DTs, delirium tremens, heart palpitation, seizures, all of those type of symptoms can take their life. So we have to understand how powerful alcohol is. Any questions about that at all? Real quickly here, since we have mostly parents in the audience, I think it's important you know how to cover up the odors. If I want to cover up the odor of alcohol, coming back from the party or wherever, I'm going to research it. If you research how to cover up the odor of alcohol, most of the websites are going to tell you to go to this product called anti-police, activated charcoal, or bentonite clay powder. Other people will just use simple things like tablespoon, teaspoon of peanut butter. Peanut butter will temporarily overpower the alcohol. You want to go with fruity, not minty smells. What do you mean by that? Well, I don't want to chew on mint candies because it'll make the alcohol smell more pronounced. So you want to go with fruity odors, like juice fruit gum, something like that. It will help to cover up the odor better. Smoking and tobacco products, menthol cough drops, drinking vodka and bourbon, especially vodka because they have the least amount of smells. There's some other products out there. This one's called the alcohol zapper. You can purchase this online or any of our head shops, and this says it's supposed to instantaneously neutralize the odor of alcohol. Some of this stuff the kids